All right, let me run this whole thing by you real quick. Show you what I did here. Let me flip this camera around. So, originally, heater problems. Found out the heater's toasted. They don't want the heater anymore. So they cut off, we bypassed it. I got this plumbing here. I ran this line just to bypass the heater. After cutting out the heater, then this IntelliChem system didn't work because there was a head pressure on the heater. So originally the nipple was here where this coupling is now. I moved it over here in front of this filter to give that head pressure difference. So now instead of it being the heater that's providing the head pressure difference between the inlet and the outlet on the IntelliChem, it should start feeding correctly. It was giving me a no flow switch, see, like that, even though it was running, because essentially they're both pumping in here at the same pressure, and so they just weren't moving. And so now the inlet should be a lot more pressure and the outlet a lot less, so it'll come up in here and out here. And I actually had to switch these tubes over as well because one of them was longer than the other. And so I had to move that, but no biggie, just popped it off. All right, so we're gonna turn this on now, and it's been about at least a half an hour since I cut that fitting and glued it up, so everything should be holding good. We'll check it out together. All right, I'm back again with another heater repair for you guys. I got the code for the high limit switch there. So looking here at the manifold, you can see all that corrosion. If we can get in there and look at it, this side is really corroded. That's the thermistor, and down there below it's the high limit. And that corrosion comes from right here. You've got the salt cell. At the moment, because it's been cold temperatures, the dummy cell is in place, so the salt cell is not there. It's sitting right over here. As per usual here in St. George, there's no check valve protecting the heater. So at this point, I had to call the client and give them the really bad news that essentially, you know, with that high limit switch taken out of there and the threads being corroded and unable to put any new sensor back in there, I can't turn their equipment on because I can't plug that up. If I turn the equipment on, it's just going to leak right out of that hole, and I can't put a new sensor in there. I can't put anything in there to plug that up. After talking with a client, it looks like because they just have a pool and they don't really use the heater much, probably what we're going to end up doing for this situation is bypassing the heater and just removing it. They don't use it much. It's just a pool. It's not a pool spa. So really all we'd have to do for that is cut there, and have this pipe just go straight through. So that would be an easy fix there. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to need to put a coupling down there so that we can swivel this elbow over enough to put probably a 45 and plug it right into this this pipe here. So we'll probably need another coupling there. All right, so I started out with cutting this one. Then that way it was easier to cut them. It wouldn't vibrate so much because it was attached to the heater here. And so then I cut these ones because since it's attached to the heater, it wasn't so vibrating all by itself. Vibrating. Did I say vibrating? Is that a word? Anyways, it is now. I'm going to cut over here and put a coupling so I can swivel that thing down to just the right angle to put on a 45. Here's a 45. And we'll get it to try to line up with that. There. See. All right. So that's your swivel spot right there, right? So that means you're going to want to glue this on first. but not this side, not yet. Then you're gonna want to go ahead and get this set. You're gonna glue this one onto here. You're gonna glue this one onto here. And you're gonna glue this one onto here and fit it in, but don't glue that together yet. You just want it to be turned right so that it's gonna line up on there right. So then before you fit this one onto this pipe, you're going to then take this out and then glue this one and glue this one and put it together at the same time. As you can see here with that coupling on, I can swivel, and I've gotten this to line up pretty good, as you can see there. So now all I'll need is a little piece of PVC. I'll go over here to the box and see if I even have one that's cut just right, because I like to keep little pieces. Oh yeah, I've got to put the coupling on there and then try to line this up in here. Yeah, there we go. I got everything fitted. Now what I'm going to have to do is take this apart and clean off the areas there that have paint. I've got to use some primer and then scrape that paint off, and then I can glue everything together. So that's always a pain. You know, and some people use sandpaper, but you know, I think that the scraper does a real good job as long as you use the primer first. And I constantly forget to re-up on sandpaper, so that scraper is always there and works just fine. So now that I've cleaned that up, as you can see, I'm going to add primer again on that side and on the inside of that coupling and glue and fit them together. I use this weld-on clear primer, rub it on the painted part of the pipe, and then I use a 5-in-1 scraper here to scrape that paint off. I usually have to apply that primer a couple times and scrape it a couple times, and then it looks about like that, and then it's good to go. We can put that coupling on there. We have to do that for every fitting. Okay, so like I was saying, I glued this fitting on here, just this 45. The swiveling part down there I did not glue. I just needed to be able to put it in there and line up this 45 so that the 45 was glued onto there right. And now I can glue that one, which is the pivot, and that one, and then it'll all be sewed up. There we go, it's all glued, put together. Now as you can see, there's a little bit of nastiness. It's all dirty. I got these dirty gloves I use to do these dirty jobs, so I'm gonna clean that up by just using some of this clear primer here. All right, here we are. We're all done. We just bypassed that heater. That's it. However, it's not really sunny and hot today, so it is taking a while to dry. I put my finger down there on the glue joints, and it felt a little sticky still. It's only been like 20-30 minutes since I've been cleaning up and wrapping this job up. I want to let it dry at least an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this in. What I'll do is leave it in service mode here. All right. So with it in service, it's just going to stay off until we turn it back to auto. And then I'll be back to turn it back on, make sure there's no leaks. Everything's all done now. It's running. There's no leaks. Everything's good. But you know, I'm noticing right here, this is saying no flow detected. And then what I did here, I opened this up, and now you can see this valve in there coming up, and now it's awaiting. So what I'm deciding is going on is that because there's no longer a heater in the way causing a resistance and extra head pressure between that nipple and that nipple, it's causing equal force in there, and the check valve right here is not really doing anything. It's just staying stagnant in there. So I've got to move this nipple probably in front of this filter here, because then that way the pressure before the filter and after the filter should be a little different, and then hopefully that'll switch that up. So what I'm gonna do here, since this hose is a little bit longer and it'll reach over here to the back, I'm gonna just pull it off of this nipple here, put it over. I'll install this nipple over there, and then just move that hose over to here, and and we'll have to cut that out and put a coupling there and drill that nipple into there. Now we're going to put the nipple onto this pipe and fasten it down. Comes the pumps coming on. So the first test will be make sure there's no leaks there, and everything is flowing through here properly. And there we go. It just started pumping. That check valve opened up. Yep, see? We're waiting. All right. That made the difference right there. All right, now we just got to do the countdown. It looks like we're all good to go. Making sure there's no leaks. No leaks anywhere. Oh, there's a little bit of leak right there. Let's tighten that up. Forgot to swap the old gasket out with the new gasket. Yeah, you'll never really be able to use the old gaskets. So we'll put this on there and that should stop the leak. There we go. No more leak. All is well. Everything is